I think we're live. Welcome, everybody. There we go. We are live. So, welcome to day 2 of Get Control of Your Life. I hope everybody feels a little bit better after yesterday's just preliminary mindset and mind mapping exercises that we did yesterday in the first page of the workbook, and just starting to retrain our brains for gratitude, right? Those mindset exercises, exercising your mind is what allows us to see the glass half full instead of glass half empty. So the three things, remember, three things for mindset exercises is 30 minutes of exercise, physical exercise, physically moving your body every day, 30 minutes. It can be anything that you want. It could be walking, it could be intense exercise, it could be Peloton, it could be any of the above, running 30 minutes a day. Gratitude every day and a little bit of meditation. It doesn't need to be formal meditation. And meditation for me, when we're super busy, it's like I don't have time to take a meditation class or download an app. There's lots of free apps out there. But even just 5 minutes of just being still and not thinking about anything. It can be in your car before you go into work or at the end of your day before you go into the house. Just 5 minutes of clearing your mind of anything, just quiet stillness. So, three things for mindset just as a refresher from yesterday, 30 minutes of exercise. Make sure you're getting in some intentional gratitude. And I so much enjoyed seeing everybody post but everything they're grateful for in their life related to career and family and kids and animals and travel and health and all those beautiful things. So thank you so much for posting it. And you're starting to retrain your mind. Those are all mindset exercises that are proven. These are not things that I originally developed. These are proven from life coaching and career coaching from the beginning of time. Physical exercise, mental exercise, particularly gratitude journaling or intentional thinking about things you're grateful for every day, as well as stillness, some kind of meditation or just stillness for 5 minutes a day. So those are the three things to implement in your life every single day for your mind and body to stay really healthy and really strong to carry you through your life when it comes time to make difficult decisions and get control over other aspects of your life. So today, day 2, and I promise that I'm only going to go live for 20 minutes to 25 minutes every day because I want to be conscientious of and respectful of your time, and I want to value your time, and I don't want to get you the information quickly so that you can implement into your life and start to make changes to get control. So yesterday was mindset and mind map. Today we're talking about goal setting. Tomorrow is going to be action planning, so don't go ahead too much. Today we're talking about goal setting. So if you look back at your workbook, hopefully you've downloaded the workbook. It looks like this. It's in the files section in this Facebook group. Under files, you can download your PDF workbook. So yesterday, on the first page, we talked about describing your perfect life. What is that for you? Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? If you had all the money in the world and time in the world right now, what would you do for the rest of your life? Where would you live? Who would be with you? And what would you be doing? So starting to identify that, what's really important to you, what do you value? And we talked about the way to identify that is to identify 10 events in your life that you feel like changed your life, that were super impactful. So that question number 2 that says, what's important and what do you value? Add into that 10 events in your life that were impactful. And then we talked about how you want to be remembered when you're gone. And what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind to your kids, to your peers, to your colleagues? How do you want to be remembered, right? So that's what we talked about yesterday. So then at the end of the workbook, I asked you to kind of rate yourself in all the different aspects of life and kind of shade in on 1 to 10. Now, when I first started doing this in 2017, I had probably 50% of the boxes low and 50% of the boxes high. Over time, I'm training myself and I'm getting better. The goal is to have your boxes pretty high. There's always room for improvement in level, right? Not so much up and down. So for me, I still feel a little lower on my health. I'm not as good as I could be on the exercising and the eating healthy. I rated myself a little bit lower on time, right? I always feel like I'm taking on a lot and time can be a little bit of a struggle. And also relationships. It's hard. Like I work a lot. I'm very passionate about what I do. It's hard for me to make time for family and friends. So I have to really be intentional about those things. So the reason why we start here by rating yourself is so that you can start to see you are doing really well in some areas of your life. You have total control and you're doing well, whether it's finances or career, or maybe you're the opposite of me. Maybe you're super diligent and you're awesome in physical shape, strongest you've ever been. Maybe you're not as strong on finances. So the reason you do this is to see you do have control over some areas. You have control over all the areas, but conscientiously and intentionally, you're putting focus into certain areas, and those are the ones you're rating yourself the highest. Because if you think about it, where you're putting your time and energy is where you're going to succeed and excel. And the areas that are struggling, it's probably for me, right? It's because I'm not getting on my Peloton every day, and I should. And it's because I'm grabbing a processed food snack and I'm not eating a vegetable, right? And those things are going to affect my health. And I'm making that decision instead of making a different decision. So for you, on the areas that you rated lower and less control, what decisions are you making or not making that are allowing those things to be a little bit lower? And now, when we're talking about goal setting, when you think about the areas you're doing really well on, do you have a certain goal in those areas? And my guess is you probably do to some extent. So if you're really strong in the health category, you probably have a certain number for your weight, or you have a certain time that you like to run for a half marathon. You have certain benchmarks that you're measuring yourself against in those areas that you're doing really well on. I know that's how I am, in finances and career. Some of the things that I rate myself higher on, I'm very intentional and very conscientious in those areas. The areas I rated myself less control, probably I don't put so much time and energy and focus into those things, right? And when I say time, I don't mean time invested. I mean time invested in progress, in making a change in that area. Because you may rate yourself low, say in career, that you don't have a lot of control, but you're putting a lot of time. But my question is, are you putting time that's effort related to progress in that area? And that's when you start to feel out of control, as if things are not progressing. So when we're thinking about today and goal setting, I'm thinking about, where's your energy going? Is your energy going into making progress in those areas that you feel like you have control on? Because you can do those things really well. You are awesome in those categories, in some of those categories. In other categories, you feel like you don't have control over. Maybe it's time. Maybe you feel like you are scrambling. You don't even have time to do anything. Forget a 5 minute quiet moment. Like, you can't even have 5 minutes to use the restroom during the day. And if that's the case, are you truly being intentional on how you're spending your time? Are you measuring how much time is going to commuting or social media or carpooling or grocery store or housekeeping? Things that you could maybe carve off your plate, delegate to somebody else, hire out to somebody else, or maybe reflect on if this is really the way you want to spend your life, with a 2 hour commute or something like that. Or is it worth either moving closer to your employment or finding new employment? One of the two. Is it time to make a decision, one decision that will change your life forever? So if you rated yourself low control over your time, it's because you're giving your time to everybody else, to work and to family, and you're not giving time to yourself. You don't have those 5 minutes for quiet, still time. You don't have the 30 minutes for physical exercise. Forget getting control over any of the other categories in life. If that's the case, then it's time to start a time diary and figure out, where's your time going every single day? What things can be eliminated? What things can be hired out to somebody else, a housekeeper or an assistant who can do your grocery shopping or grocery delivery, or any of those things, or carpooling with other people? Or what do you need to maybe think about making a massive change if you want your life to change? Because life change with one decision in one instant, and your whole life will change. That's how it works. So we're talking about goals today. Page 2 of the workbook. So hopefully you have your workbook. So let's talk about, have you defined goals in all those areas of life? And most of us don't define goals in everything. We pick certain areas, right? Like for me, maybe I have a certain weight that I want to get to, or maybe there's a certain, financial goal or business goal. So, but is there a relationship goal? I don't know. For me, that's an area that I have a happy marriage. friends and family all over the country, which is good, but I should need to make more time for them. Do I make it an intentional thing? Not always. So that's something that I need to work towards. So today, on the top of page 2, write down 10 goals that you have in all the areas from the chart on page 1. Specific goals, very, very, very specific. How much effort, that could be time, that could be money, that could be something measurable, and in what time frame. What do you want to accomplish financially, and by when? What do you want to accomplish with your career, and by when? What do you want to accomplish with your relationships, and by when? And relationships could be spouse, it could be a family, it could be friends, it could be anything like that. What do you want to accomplish with your health, and by when? What do you want to accomplish with personal growth, and by when? What do you want to accomplish for fun and recreation, and by when? Another category that I grade a little lower for myself for control, because again, I love what I do business wise, and sometimes I work 7 days a week and I forget that I need to carve off some time for fun. My husband's really good in the fun category, so we balance each other out. So for today, for goal setting, intentionally write 10 things. So, covering all those categories, you might have one or two goals in each category. Specifically, what do you want to accomplish and by when? Because if you write it down as detailed as possible, like for me, it's not that I want to get in shape or that I want to lose weight. That is too broad. It is, I want to be able to lose 10 pounds by July 1st. Like that specific. Or I want to implement 30 minutes every single day at 7 a.m. and on my Peloton. That specific. So, what do you want specifically? If it's a financial goal, how much money do you want saved or invested or student loans paid off? How much is it that you want to pay off $50,000 of student loans by the end of the year? That specific, because when you write it down, then that's the first step to creating the map to make it actually happen. So that's really important to make sure we have goals in all the areas. Now, the areas that you feel like you haven't had control over, the question is why? What are the issues and challenges that you're having in those areas? Why do you feel like you don't have control in the areas that you rated yourself low of? And here's the secret. Most people by nature will start to blame either an incident or an event or a person. So they'll say, well, I got injured, or for me, I say, I move around. My lifestyle is very complicated, so it's difficult to get into a workout routine, right? I'm making an excuse about my workout based on the environment. That's not an excuse. I have tennis shoes. I can put them on and I can go for a walk, a run. I don't always have my Peloton with me, but I have the app and I could do it on my phone anywhere. So, making excuses, blaming the environment is one excuse. The second excuse is blaming other people. That's somebody else. For me, my husband loves to eat. So I'll say, oh my gosh, I'm putting on all this weight because my husband is in between work projects and he's cooking a lot. And this is what happens. But is that his responsibility, right? Is he the one that is forcing me to eat? No, that is me picking up the fork. So when you're thinking about why you don't have control in certain areas that you shaded in, why is that? Is it an environmental excuse? Is it another person that you're blaming? Because all of those things are not really inhibiting you from reaching that goal. You are inhibiting yourself from reaching that goal. You are keeping yourself in the job with a long commute. You are choosing not to delegate or hire a housekeeper. You are choosing to not work out if health is something that is an area that's suffering for you. If you're not getting control in the area, I promise you, something related to a decision that you are making or not making that is affecting that area of your life that you're feeling like you're out of control over. So if you're thinking about, and this is in the workbook too, what are your biggest issues and why do you feel like you don't have control? What are the biggest issues and problems and how does it make you feel, right? If it makes you feel kind of lousy, you're like, well, it's somebody else is controlling my life. A new boss is dictating my schedule or changing my salary, so that doesn't feel good. It feels like you don't have control, but you do have control. You have control to have a conversation. you have control to negotiate to the best of your ability, and you have control to walk out the door, give your notice, professional notice, obviously, so that you can be replaced and go and find a new opportunity that aligns with your goals. Because when you feel out of control, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to feel time strapped, financially strapped. If you're financially strapped, do you have a monthly budget? Do you know exactly how much you spend on your fixed expenses and your variable expenses? And that's super important. If you feel like you're paycheck to paycheck, fundamentally, it probably is because you're not putting effort into managing your budget. People who manage their budget, they're very comfortable. They're not paycheck to paycheck, even if they're making less money than you, because they're managing and they're putting energy and focus into their budget. They know exactly what they spend every month. They don't live beyond their means. They make sure that they can save a certain amount for a rainy day or for investments or both. And when things happen, pandemic, layoffs, whatever it is, they're not happy about it, but they do have a financial cushion. They're not paycheck to paycheck. So if that is you, then that probably is an area similar to me with health that you want it to be better, but you're not necessarily putting the energy and focus there to actually make it better. You're sort of wishing it to be better, but it's not going to make it better on its own until you make a decision to create a personal budget and change some things about the way you're living and the way you're spending money and managing your money so that you set yourself up to have a big nest egg, to have a big investment, to have a big retirement, and all those sort of things, to be able to invest in other things. So when you're looking at page 2, establish 10 different goals specifically and the timeline of when you want to accomplish them by. Think about those areas that you don't have control over and how is it making you feel? And why do you feel like you don't have control? Are you blaming an event or a person? Because if you are, it's time to turn that around and look within, because it's really up to you to make a decision, to make a change, to get control in those areas so that you don't feel so negative and icky that someone else or something else is controlling that situation for you. And another really interesting thing is to kind of look at other people. Look at other people who you consider successful and think about, how are they doing it, right? How are they able to achieve all of these things, whether it's career, whether it's relationships, whether it's financially? What are they doing? And model their mindset and model some of their behavior, because they're putting effort. I promise they're putting effort into some of those different categories of their life that maybe you're not. Maybe you're putting effort in different categories and you're really strong in something else, but you really want to be stronger in a different area. Look at people who are strong in that area and pay attention to what they're doing and do things that are similar. So I'll tell you a quick story about a client that I recently worked with, and it was a really awesome experience. I was working with a client who was making a change, moving across the country, looking for a new job, and kind of, all the anxiety and stress that comes with moving. And we started talking about goal setting and what was her long-term plans for herself personally, her career, finances, family, relationships, money, all of it. We started going through every single thing in detail and by when. And you're thinking, this is a 5 or 10 year goal that we're talking about. And she's thinking about, I need to get ready to move now, like in the next couple of months. Why are we talking about my goals for 10 years from now? Well, it's important because then the decisions you make right now are actually slowly working towards that long-term goal. So one of her long-term goals was to get involved with medical missions and travel all over the country and the world, getting involved in medical missions. And she said, after I move, after I get a new job, I want to make sure I work with someone that will support that, because eventually I would like to go on some medical missions and after disasters help other communities. And I sort of said, well, why can't we look into those things now? And she thought, well, I don't know. I just have so much going on and I need to have kids and we need to move in my career and my spouse's career. We need to figure all these things out. Well, lo and behold, fast forward just a few weeks later, she started putting a few feelers out there, and in a very competitive program, she got accepted to for medical missions. And just a matter of maybe a couple months at the most, now she already reached a goal that was a 10-year goal for her in just a couple of months, because she was intentionally aware of what her goals were, both short term and long term. Some goals are going to be short. They're going to be things you want to happen in the next month, 2 months, 6 months. Some goals are going to be long. They're going to be things you want to happen in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And that's good. That's what you want. And you want to write that down, because once it's written down, all of a sudden it's in your mind a little bit. And as opportunities present themselves, or as you're carrying yourself through life and you meet other people, those things will manifest sooner than later if you're intentional about them. And so that was a really fun. We celebrated together, as it was a huge win and in her process, because now, yes, she's still moving. Yes, she's still looking for another job where she's saved up budget now. So she's got cushion. We went through her personal budget. She's got cushion and comfort to make a change and all those sort of things. Doesn't mean that the event isn't stressful, but it means like this big element of her life that was always a dream is in place now. She doesn't have to wait 10 years until she's closer to retirement or more established in a new clinical role. She's going to be doing that now and looking for job opportunities that will support it, because it's already real. It's not something that's just hypothetical. It's already happening. And that's why goal setting is so, so, so important, because if you look at the next question in the workbook, how would you feel if you didn't have any restrictions holding you back? Like in her mind, she thought, well, I have to move, I have to get a new job before I can apply for this other program and do these other things. Like these certain other elements and steps were kind of like holding her back. Like, what if the next boss wasn't supportive of this? And she was thinking, well, I need to do all these things first. She was kind of limiting herself, right? Well, what if you take those limitations away? So you don't need to ask permission. You can do this program now. Do the program and then find a job that will support it. You do not have to wait for other people's permission. So this is what why I'm telling you this story, because you can have that same sort of feeling, and you can probably reach a lot of your longer term goals sooner than you think if you take control and you stop waiting for other people to grant you control. And if you feel like you're getting in that blame game, that the your boss now or whatever is holding you back, well, then it's time for a conversation. Try to create a win-win, try to create a compromise. And if you really can't, and it's really important, you're going back to page 1 of your workbook. It's fundamentally in your core, the most important thing to you and things that you want to leave as your legacy. Like for this particular client, she really wanted that as her legacy that she left behind when she was no longer on earth. She wanted to know that she helped the people on this entire planet, from a healthcare perspective. And so that was in her core. That was the legacy she wanted to leave behind. Is in her being. So if those are the things that you want to identify, why we did that exercise yesterday, because if that's something is in your core fundamental foundation mindset, that it is part of you, and you're not going to be fulfilled unless you get this program or time or money or whatever it is. And if your current life is not aligning with that, well, then it's time to have some conversations, make some decisions, and align your life and create the life that will get you there. So, and if you're not sure, look at other successful people, because I promise you can look around at people in the community and you will see other people that are doing the things that you want to be doing, that you're wishing you could do, whether it's family or financial or career or health. All the areas that are in that chart on the first page, if you look around, you will see people that are really strong in each one of the categories, and strong in the categories that you feel weak in. So look to those people. When I get motivated myself, and I'm motivating myself in this program as well to get more control of my health, I look to my peers that are very diligent and disciplined on the exercise and the eating front. I look at my peers and colleagues who are in functional medicine, health coaching, some of my peers and colleagues that are in social network marketing that have amazing products, all those things. And I look at those people, I study their rhythms and their habits. What are they doing? How much time are they putting into working out or into food prep? How are they doing it? And how are they able to stay so disciplined in an area that for me tends to fall lower on the priority list? So I have to consciously keep pushing that up. So I look at other people who have done it well. So if you feel like you're weak in the financial arena or career, if those are areas you feel like you don't have control, why? Why? Is it an event or a circumstance or a person that you're blaming? And if it is, turn that back around, because that comes back to you. It's no one else's control. You have control over your own life. What are the 3 things you can't control? The weather, the global economy, other people's behavior and other people's actions. You can influence, but not control them. You can't control other people. You can influence them, but not control them. So the things you can't control is the weather, the global economy, other people's actions and behavior. And to some extent, dangerous health conditions and, accidents and things like that. We can't control that. But most other things that are in your life, circumstance in your life, you actually have control over. You just feel like you don't. You just feel like you don't, but you really do. You really do. So look towards other people. What are they doing who are really strong in those areas? And how can you be similar? And that's what we do when we coach people privately. We help people recognize in the areas they feel like they don't have control over, where they do have control, and how they can make it one decision to move closer to their work so they don't have as much commute if time is an issue for them, or find a new employment that is closer, right? There's answers to time, or hire out some help. I've worked with clients before, and when the time we're done, we've reorganized budget and we're able to get housekeepers and assistants and carpools and all these things figured out. So all of a sudden they have time, especially if they want to start a business or if they have a side hustle that they need to put energy into, and they find like so many hours every week are going to mundane things that they could get hired out or could be delegated out to other people. So that is key. You want to make sure that you are paying attention to the areas that you don't feel like you have control of, so that you can get more control in that area. And think about, if you achieved all those goals, if you achieved that perfect life from day one, how is that going to make you feel? How is it going to make you feel if you achieve and you get to that perfect life much sooner than you could have ever imagined? What if you get half of those things in your perfect life accomplished in the next few months or the next year? Things that you thought, I'm going to have to work until retirement for this lifestyle. And with some small changes in your life, all of a sudden you're getting some of the elements of that perfect life into your life now. Those are the things that I'm fortunate over, that I've been able to do with my life, and things that I thought I would have to wait a long time or work for decades and decades, is a lifestyle that I have now. I have more time. I have more time to devote to family and friends. I have more time. I have better control over finances, better control over career, and personal growth and things like that. And it takes muscle training with mindset, but you can get there too. This week is your first step. So tomorrow we're talking about taking action, which is going to be the bottom of page 2. So don't fill out that box just yet. So make sure that you do fill out the page, I guess this is 3, defining your goals, and all those questions related to that. How do you feel if you don't have control? How are the issues make you feel? How can you, what are other successful people doing? What is truly holding you back? And if you achieve your life goals, how's that going to make you feel? So let's start talking about goals and really defining what they are. Short-term and long-term, minimum of 10, covering all the different areas. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about action steps and starting to put it in place. So yesterday, mindset, mind map. If you missed yesterday's video, scroll back down in the Facebook group and you can catch it. Today was goal setting. Tomorrow is action planning. So I will sign off. I'm just about at the 30-minute mark. I went a little long. Sorry about that. I will try to keep it shorter tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. Oh, challenge. The challenge for today in the Facebook group, because we are giving away a free coaching session. So your challenge for today is extra bonus points if you post another picture, but your challenge for today is to share the top 3 goals that you have. Top 3 goals that you have in the shorter term. Shorter term could be a few weeks, a few months, or this calendar year. Your top 3, if you're comfortable sharing, you're going to get entered to win a free coaching session. If you share in the group, extra points if you put a picture with it. What are your top 3 goals? After you do the workbook exercises, top 3 that are most important to you, and by when, your top 3 goals, and by when, as specific as possible, with a picture, gives you bonus points. And we're going to be picking somebody who will win a free coaching session at the end of the 5-day challenge. I almost forgot the public challenge. So I will see you in the group. But with your pictures and your goals. I'll celebrate. I'll cheer you on. I will post mine as well. In just a couple minutes, I'll put mine in there also. All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow, 2 o'clock East Coast. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon.